Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Cindy Kamau. I'm the head of developer relations lead at Celo Africa DAO. And with me here, we have two guests with us today. We have Derek Bundi, who's the co-founder of Pretium Finance, and we have Chris. So to give you guys a bit more of context, the Celo Townhall is a new monthly live stream, which we have hosted at Celo Africa DAO, so that we can be able to highlight the upcoming projects and startups in the Celo ecosystem. So with us, the first startup we have is Pretium Finance. So I will give you guys, both Chris and Derek Dundi, time to first introduce yourselves and tell us what you do, and also we can continue from there. Thank you, guys. We can start with Derek, then Chris. I'm sorry, Derek, you're muted.
Thank you, Cindy. Great to join the first Townhall Cero meeting. My name is Derek Bundi, current founder and co-founder and CEO at Pretium Finance. By background, I'm a software engineer with over 5 years of experience building financial startups services too that have helped people across Africa. To mention a few: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ghana, Botswana, and Nigeria. Uh, by profession, I have a bachelor degree in business information technology from the Tata University. So basically, immediately from campus, as any other software engineer, we jump from one internship to a better place, so that the course of my line as well as a software engineer, jumping from jumping from internship to a permanent job. Then now I'm building Pretium Finance. That is it from my end. Thank you, Cindy.
Nice, thank you. Okay, Chris, you can continue.
Thank you, Cindy, for this invite for this call, the premier one. Happy to be here. I'm Chris Kirimi Meme, and I'm a co-founder at Pretium Finance. I mainly lead the business side of things and the product side. So majorly covering the fundraising, investor relations, partnership development, and also just research and supporting the finance side of things. Personally, I'm a bachelor's degree of economics holder, having started my career in government, then shifted to the UN for some time. And then in 2020, I shifted to the tech industry. So I've been working in tech now for close to 4 years, mainly focusing on financial services, the last mile payments. And at the moment now, I'm currently building a Pretium with Derek. Yeah,
Okay, that's very nice. So the first question I have goes to Derek. First of all, I would like to understand how your journey has been since you started out in like the Web2 space before you found yourself in building in blockchain, Pretium. So how's your journey been? How did you start essentially, and how did you find yourself in the blockchain space?
Great, thank you, Cindy. To start with, I may mention from my last employer. We were doing the normal. I was employed as a software engineer by a fintech startup. We were doing the normal Web2 kind of payment gateways and the rates within the Kenyan context. Though the startup had its presence in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Ghana. So within the course, I had put my hand on building a couple of financial tools across the country, which we are in operation of. But within the course of my tenure with my employer, we came across an opportunity to build something on Web3, and as a result, we get a grant out of it. So the focus shifted from integrating Web3 to one of the products which we were building. I was the lead developer in building the product. So I took a role in integrating Web3 into it. The product was reading and borrowing protocol, which now we were adding the aspect of Web3. Web3 was not a new thing to me. it was not a new thing to me, but technically I hadn't built anything with Web2. As a result, we managed to get the grant, but to my surprise, the project, we didn't push it forward. But during the building process, I think that experience, it's like it kindled some passion within me about this kind of global payment infrastructure that is Web3. And I kept on building what now we were building after getting grant. But now rather than focusing on the business side of it, I put it as my side project. So as we were doing our normal day in day out activities from my employer perspective, I was in continuation of building what we were building before, but now focusing on the consumer side. And since then, after now I left that employment, that way now I pushed what I was building as a side project into a live product, which now I was sharing with the people to test it out and to use it out.
Okay, nice. So, Chris, I would also first want you to just give us a quick highlight of how your experience has been. If you've had any experience in the Web2 space before you found yourself in the blockchain space building for Pretium first. Yeah, and then I have a couple more questions for Derek coming up. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Cindy. Actually, interestingly enough, is that we were both employed by the same employer with Derek.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we started off together. Actually, he found me working with the previous employer, and we built. When we were working with the previous employer, it's a fintech company based in Nairobi. We started working on a couple of projects, and one of them was a Web3 project. And that is the first time that I actually interacted with Web3. That was back in 2022. So that was the first time I interacted with Web3. But for the fintech side of things, for the Web2 side, I started working on financial services from 2020 until currently now. Yeah.
Now, it's very interesting that both of you had the same employer, yeah? And one more thing that I've noticed is that you did say for the first project you were building, which was for lending and borrowing, yeah? Unfortunately, it didn't get to scale, but now the project which we're working on as a side project is now what you're building right now as Pretium, right? So both it's an open-ended question, anyone can tackle it. So the first thought I have is, what do you think makes a project which you start as an idea to not go further and basically just die out along the way? And what builds a project into like a successful startup? Yeah.
For me, I think to begin with, from an entrepreneur perspective, you may build a product focusing on yourselves rather than focusing on your users. And what makes a couple of projects not to see the light of the day is a time we so much believe in what we are building and not focusing on the customer head. And most of the people that I are experienced in building startups, it's a two-way traffic. You build as you speak with your customers, because at the end of the day, the product or the services you ship to the customers, they either adopt it or they give you feedback on what they really need. And at times we build a product which are not there isn't market for it. And at times that's the reason why you may build something and it never scale up, because there is no market for it. But in most instances, if you're building product and you are speaking with your customer, you end up getting what the customers are telling to you and reverting into it. And you find now you are building around what the customer need, and at no point you can get wrong if you are building that approach.
Okay, nice. Nice. So, since both of you have come, or rather, the entire both of you, right, from the Pretium team, you've come from like building financial payment systems, yeah. So, for it to integrate, or rather, to come and build it on blockchain now as Pretium, I'm curious to know what sort of market gap did you guys see? And you're like, aha, we have this sort of a flaw in payment systems, especially which blockchain can solve, and so let's build our project around it. So what made you guys essentially come up and build Pretium in its sense? Yeah.
Okay, Chris, please go first.
Yeah, so this is so building Pretium is mainly based on the problems that me and also Derek have faced in the past, and also it's something that we also talked to some of the early users just to understand the problems that they face when they have this some of these digital assets. And the problem that they face is that they have the assets, but they would like a way of spending some of these assets in piecemeal when they do their transactions, specifically when they pay at the merchant level. So thinking about that and thinking about how can we build a product that solves this problem, where you don't you have these digital assets, but you don't want to off-ramp all of it at the same time to your in fiat. So you want to be able to spend small pieces of it, as also you also still hold some of your assets in digital assets also, because a lot of us in the emerging markets like in Kenya and also in Africa, a lot of us buy these digital assets so that you can also be able to hedge against inflation. So you don't want to be in a situation where you are off-ramping or you are converting all your digital assets to fiat currency. So you want to be able to affordably and very seamlessly and easily pay for things at the merchant point, but at the same time not being able to pay in very, very piecemeal. So like in Kenya, you want to be able to pay something in the form of in the currency value of like 100 Kenya shillings, which is like less than $1. So that is the key problem that we were trying to solve. Yeah.
And to add on top of what Chris just said, at the beginning, we started by solving our own problem. Personally, as a crypto holder, and what happened to most of the African, anyone that you know that they're in possession of cryptocurrencies, one thing, they are hedging against inflation. And at times, we use our local currencies when we need them. And also, if now you hedged against the inflation and you converted all of your cryptocurrencies into, you converted all of your local currencies into cryptocurrencies. At times, you may not, you may not need to. The need that you want to address at the moment, you want to pay $0.5, and you find most of the off ramps platform, they only allow an off ramp of $1. And for me, in my case, where now I moved all my local currencies into cryptocurrencies, at times I may not need to off ramp $1. I just need to off ramp $0.3. So, experiencing that with at a first-hand experience, we really find a necessity to build our own product in line to what we were facing on day in, day out. So actually now our greatest motivation was building the problem we ourselves are facing.
Okay, so let's just assume we have someone who's completely new in the blockchain space who's listening to this right now. So you've talked about the word of ramping, yeah? So how would you just quickly explain it so that they can understand and find if maybe Pretium is something they need for their day-to-day transactions, yeah?
Okay, thank you. So what happened if you hedge against inflation and convert your local currencies into fiat? We call it an on-ramp. An on-ramp is just conversion of your local currencies into cryptocurrencies. The opposite side of it, conversion of the cryptocurrencies into the local currencies. That way now we call it an off-ramp. And now Pretium come into play into this, For you now, for example, if you on-ramp all of your money now and you need to do an off-ramp, Pretium is just a mean of an off-ramp services, but we may call it using your digital assets to do your transactions rather than having to do a conversion. Because remember, for what happens with conversion is you trade your cryptocurrencies, you get your local currencies, and go to pay for your bills. And now how Pretium comes into play into this is to facilitate you to pay your bill when you need them and anytime you need them and in proportion at which you need them. You see, if now you want you are to off ramp, there most of the exchanges they are the limit that they put, which now you are not you can't off ramp something below $1. But at the end of the day, probably you are in need of 0. Something dollars. So Pretium come to address that where now you are able to pay for your transactions without having to do an off ramp, which is now the conversion of your crypto asset into local currencies. You are able to use them in your everyday transactions.
Okay, so just to capture in essence what Pretium is coming in to solve, yeah? So assuming I want to pay my, let's say I want to pay at the supermarket or I want to pay my mama mboga, yeah, right? And I have the till number, which we have in Kenya, yeah? Buy goods and services or rather M-Pesa. What I have is crypto. I don't have like normal Kenya shillings, right? Which we call fiat. So what you guys do is essentially I can directly pay my goods using the till number or rather the M-Pesa using my crypto, right? Instead of having to go to Binance and looking for a merchant and trading and converting to Kenya shillings, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very, sorry, just continue.
And to add on top of that, like now in the Kenyan context, where you pay for your TV subscriptions or your internet connections, you are able to comfortably pay to your internet provider as long as they provide to you the pay bill number.
Nice.
You can comfortably pay direct from your crypto assets.
Nice. This is actually very nice because, like you said, in as much as we're very degenerate and all, a lot of things we do in crypto, when it now comes to real value and paying for things, it's very hectic because you have to go through a merchant, right? And that sort of third party is what, in essence, blockchain was supposed to come and remove, right? So with Pretium, we can pay directly using just all our utilities, which we have, we can pay directly using crypto. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
So thinking about it now, because when we go back to what we were talking about before, you did say consumer feedback is very important, right? Because sometimes we think we're building products as developers, we're building products which solve something, but if we don't include consumers, we might not be creating a product that is suitable for them, right? Yeah. So with Pretium, ever since you guys started, how have you been involving consumers who will be using your product in every stage of the development phase to ensure that they need this product, right? So essentially, if you get like more customers. Yeah. So how has been the consumer feedback along each stage of Pretium?
Consumer feedback is an integral part of what we are doing. To make it clear to you, Sid, and to anyone listening out there, any feature that we have pushed an upgrade of in our platform, they are all influenced by what we are receiving from our customers. And that's the reason you'll find myself and Chris in the Web3 community event talking to the customer, receiving their feedback, because we believe we are building a product for them. And at the end of the day, whatever they say, that's what makes sense to them. And every feedback that we receive, we put it into consideration to tweak our product to meet their need. And at times, what happen, like in case scenario where now we have a contradicting feedback from the customer. At times it happen. It's just like we call the customer education that is in need. And if now you meet with the people that we are serving, and you listen to them what now they have to say about your product, At times you get to understand it's not the need for a feature, but a need for an awareness, or a need for you to educate your customer. And personally, I can say it's been quite an exciting journey, more so on the overall Celo ecosystem and the Web3 community event, because they have really shaped what Pretium is of to date. And the other feature now we are looking forward to explore is as a result of what we are receiving from our customers.
Okay, great. So right now, we're currently building this conversation and edging more towards the technicalities of it, which includes the demo of how now Pretium works. One question I have as a consumer now is, sometimes when you want to pay, the time the transaction takes is very integral, right? Because it would be very frustrating if I'm trying to pay something and it takes longer than let's say just using M-Pesa, right? So with Pretium, what would be the estimate of how long essentially it will take me to pay, let's say, something, or rather send money to someone directly from my crypto without having so what would be like the estimate of the time period there between all those transactions?
If it take long since 30 seconds, simply you can imagine how now Pretium is being used in the Kenyan context, like being in queue at supermarket. While other people are being served and you are there making payment. You can imagine how seamless it is. You are able to pay well at the supermarket queue, and there is no delay whatsoever. And even the merchant at the other end receiving payment, they aren't aware that you are paying from your cryptocurrencies. So it's quite exciting, and it's super fast.
Yeah, very exciting, by the way, because most of the financial products, fintech products around we have mostly is the concept of on ramp and off ramp, right? Like you said, but you guys introduced the entire concept of paying directly instead of now helping me off ramp my money, and then I now have to do. You introduced the concept, yeah. So just out of curiosity, because sometimes comparing with M-Pesa, sometimes M-Pesa has downtime. Sometimes I try to like make payments and they don't work, right? So could you say the same with Pretium? Is there like are there any periods where you can have like some downtime, or have you guys stress test the product enough so that you can tell us comfortably, yeah, we have like 90% uptime, or rather 99% uptime? So are there any what are the expectations with regards to downtime? Do you have like, is it minimal downtime, or yeah?
There isn't. And if there is, we have an issue with our payment, the mainstream payment infrastructure, because in Kenyan context, we are purely built upon the mainstream payment infrastructure. If there is an issue with the mainstream payment infrastructure, we experience that on the downstream, and any other infrastructure built upon that kind of an approach. So it's the same with the banking industry that is in Nigeria market. If there is an issue from the overall banking industry, that issue is experienced from the downstream partner. So it can't bothered, but from the Pretium perspective, there isn't any downtime, unless there are some technical issues that are being resolved by our technical team.
Okay, nice. So with that, we can come to the demo. You guys can show us live how a complete user with crypto and want to make payment, they can use essentially Pretium. Yeah, if that's okay with you. Yeah. So yeah, if you can just try, you can just share your screen. In the event there's any technical, you can just tell me if you're unable to. Yeah. In the meantime, while Derek is preparing everything, Chris, I just have a question with regards to the let's say, Paul, have you guys had any issues with policies? Let's say, did you need to like get a license essentially to do this? Is there any, when it comes to now the Kenyan laws, is there any issues that you guys have had with regards to essentially making the business legit in Kenya?
Yes. So at the moment, we are of course we are incorporated in Kenya. We are following all the necessary laws and regulations. As you know, at the moment, there isn't really any proper regulation on cryptocurrency in Kenya. That is something that we are hoping that the current parliament will work on. It's something I know that is already on the floor of the parliament, just to be able to clean up the licenses so that we can all of us can now start really screaming about our products. But at the moment, we are fully compliant with the existing laws in Kenya. The only thing that we are hoping is that the government and also the parliament will recognize the importance and the demand of these products, and if they'll be able to see the kind of statistics that chain analysis usually report about, where they regarding the penetration of cryptocurrency for Kenya, which is probably, I think the last time I checked was top 10 in per capita, the whole world. So there is a serious demand of this of crypto in Kenya. There's a very serious usage of it in Kenya. It's just a matter of time before it really spreads to other African countries. But looking at other African countries like South Africa, they have already passed some very good laws on some laws on cryptocurrency, which I'm hoping that they will be passed here in Kenya, and we'll be able to now be able to integrate and work with everyone else in the financial payments services. But at the moment, we are fully compliant with the existing laws in Kenya. Yeah.
Okay. So with that, Derek, are you set for doing the demo essentially?
Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. So let me see from your end. Can you see your screen in like a full screen layout? Because on my end, I'm trying to essentially enhance it.
Yeah, on my end, it's full layout.
Okay, let's just continue. No worries.
Okay. To start with, right now we have two distribution channel. Pretium is rival MiniPay. If you install Opera Mini, and to some of the devices, Opera Mini is by default installed. If you open MiniPay and navigate to Discover page, you'll be able to access Pretium. Our presence right now is in Kenya, Nigeria, we're in Ghana and South Africa, and we are launching to more of the African nation. So from the MiniPay, you are able to access all of our services. We have also our web application. This is another distribution channel. Upon our landing page, you are able to see make payment. If you navigate to pay to make payment, it immediately open to our payment infrastructure. You see now we support the send money, we support the buy good, we support the pay bill. The send money is commonly accepted means of payment within the Kenyan context for the small businesses orders. The same case for buy good. These are mainly accepted by restaurants, accepted by supermarket. And we have the pay bill. The pay bill mainly support the banking industry. And also most of the utility services like internet connections, TV subscriptions, etc. We on our web application, we currently supporting payment at merchant point for Kenya and Nigeria. If you select Nigeria, you see we are supporting OPay, MoneyPoint, and PalmPay. But let's do a demo with the Kenyan context. If I go to send money, I just insert my mobile number, then amount. So what happened now? The minimum is 20 Kenyan shillings. You see now, once I insert my information, you get the amount they will receive. This is the mobile number indicated, and the amount you are going to pay in cryptocurrencies. You can see the rate at which now we are subjecting this payment to for every US dollar. You see now we support three stable coins. We have Celo USD, we have USDT, and USDC. If you select Celo USD, so what happened? This now come in hand to most of the people that manage their crypto assets from various wallet.
Sorry, just a second. I can see one of our own Umar is saying they can't see your screen. So okay. Okay. I'm just trying to see if maybe it's the layout or something. So Just a second, guys. Let me see if maybe Yeah, what about now? Umar, can you still see Derek's screen? Because on my end, everything is working. Ah, okay. 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 What about now? All right. Yeah, so okay, let's just continue in the meantime. Let me just as I kind of fix the screen share issue, I think yeah, before let's just put the demo for off for like a few minutes. Let me just continue the conversation as I figure out, and then we can go back to the demo. So, in the meantime, I would like to know, because so far you've said you're based in Kenya and Nigeria, right? And you've incorporated a lot of the payment systems, the normal payment systems in both countries, yeah. So, in the future, what plans do you have, and rather with Pretium now? Yeah, what plans do you have in Pretium?
Thank you, Cindy, for such a beautiful question. Our focus mainly, we focus on the mainstream payment at the merchant point. Now, what we have done in Kenya, like now in Kenya, using your cryptocurrencies, you are able to pay for anything and everything that you can think of. That now account for around 90% of payment within the Kenyan context. Now moving forward, we want to replicate what we have done in Kenya across other African nations. To date, we can comfortably say the same we have done with Nigeria, and we are moving forward to do so within the whole of East Africa, Ghana, and South Africa. Looking into the future, we want Pretium to be into hand of every African, and our mission really from the beginning of this year, we said we are on a mission to blur the distinction between digital asset and the local currencies. The experience we are creating upon the lives of the users we serve is there is no difference between local currencies and digital currencies. And this now give it an advantage to most of the people who are newly on the Web3 side. Just imagine, like right now, I'm able to send my mother or my grandmother cryptocurrencies, and they are able to use it seamlessly into their everyday transactions without the need of to know what is this crypto thing. So that's the kind of the thing we are looking forward to do across other African nation, and to make Pretium be in hand of every and into hands of all African nation looking into the future.
Nice. So the goal is to essentially incorporate all African the countries in the future, right? So
Yes.
that's a very what's it called? That's a very ambitious plan. I wish you all the best for that, because
Thank you.
it really helps solve a pain point we have into bridging blockchain with real world normal utilities that we have to pay for, right? So one more question I have is, currently what sort of tokens, or rather coins, do you guys support in your system right now, which can be able to convert to normal Kenya shillings? And also, are there plans to add more coins, or rather other even native tokens? Yeah, so are you guys currently focused on purely stable coins right now, or what's the plan essentially with the sort of tokens you guys support in your system?
So right now for the payment at the merchant point, we are purely focusing on the stable coins measured on the Celo ecosystem, but we are also studying for the support of native coin, that is Celo. But for the native tokens, how now we are supporting them on our web applications is for microtransactions, such as you are able to buy airtime, you are able to buy mobile data using the native coins. So we have put it into the category, the native coin purely supporting the microtransactions as well as the stable coins. But looking for the payment at the merchant point or the mainstream payment infrastructure, we are purely supporting zero stable coins, that is USD, USDT, and USDC.
Nice. So currently, just a quick question. Currently, we have in the mentor protocol are also having like an initiative of coming up with local stablecoins, right? So they've just come up with Celo Kenya shillings. So are you guys also have you guys also integrated CKS into your platform? And since Mentor are looking to create essentially local stable coins in in African countries, yeah, and you guys are dealing with stable coins right now, do you consider like maybe in the future, or rather maybe you guys have already entered into some sort of partnership with the guys from Mentor?
Absolutely. CK is in our pipeline. Actually, we have done. We have already done that phase for checking how it can integrate within our process flow. We have done a couple of meetings with the mentors team, and now we have put it on our pipeline to integrate it in a near future. So in a near future, we will also support the CKs.
Okay, with that, let's take a second take at the technical demo, because I would really like to see how everything works out. So let's try it out and see if the guys who are watching can be able to see.
Okay.
Yeah, so just a quick heads up, if you're watching this, if we can be able to see Derek's screen, it will really help us if we get feedback from you guys before we
I'm sharing
continue.
my screen right now.
Okay. I really hope it's working out. Yeah. So let's just try to see if anyone will like comment that they can see the screen. In the meantime, one last question before we go to the demo is what sort of advice would you give developers who are building and also founders who are coming up, considering the fact that you yourself, Derek, you've been involved in a project which started out but didn't finish, but right now you're building Pretium which has a lot of potential in this space and ecosystem, yeah? So what sort of advice would you give upcoming founders in the space, and also developers who are looking maybe to build products, and also people maybe who are non-developers and they're also looking to build products in the space? Yeah.
For me, for a developer, I would just say to them, show up and keep going and interact with the people building within whatever you are looking at. Like if now you are newly on the Web3 space, interact with the guys within the ecosystem and keep showing up to this Web3 event, because this where we draw our energy from. Like most of the time, we find a reason to give up, but out of this kind of gather up, we find energies to move on. For the entrepreneur, I would say, give it all that you can, invest heavily into it, because I believe one way or the other, your startup don't fail. You just take up the lessons, and those lessons you are able to use them into your next venture. So, on I believe, for a developer perspective, show up, keep pushing it. You are not alone. Everyone is experiencing the same thing. For anyone coming into entrepreneurship, give it all. If it fails, just take up the lessons and move to the next big thing.
Okay, let's just go to the demo then. Yeah.
You are able to see my screen, eh?
Yeah, on my end, I can see your screen. So yeah, let's just continue. If there are any technicalities, I'll just figure it out later on. Yeah.
Okay, on the landing page, you just click on the make payment. So as I explained, we support various payment method across Kenya and Nigeria. Like now you may opt to do a send money, buy good and pay your number. For the send money, you just hand your mobile number, the amount at which now you are paying. This come into play where now you are making payment at the local grocery store, and you continue. You see this the amount now you are going to be charged in dollars, and you are able to see our rates, and you select the coin at which now you want to pay with. This case scenario, I'm selecting CUSD. So what happened here is for most of the people that manage their crypto assets from various wallets like MetaMask, Coinbase, as long as you have CUSD, we display to you the address at which now you are going to deposit this amount. So right now we are processing this payment and listening to any payment made to this address. And once you deposit that payment, we are able to disburse the payment to mobile number given. So it's the same case with the buy good as well as the pay bill number. It's simple as that and very seamless.
Nice. So let me see. So if I get this correctly, currently this system is on the web app, right?
Yes.
So is there any plans to like design applications both for Android and also iOS, apart from now using web apps to essentially conduct these transactions?
Yes, there is. Actually, that's where we are moving to.
Okay, awesome. So one last question and then we essentially close is so because I would like to know how did you guys come up to start in the Celo ecosystem? What essentially put Celo apart from other protocols that made you guys decide to come and build on Celo as Pretium, right? Yeah.
Chris, please go ahead.
I think for me, from my experience, because I'm not a techie, but for me, from the experience that I've seen having interacted with other networks, is that there's a lot of support from the Celo team, the network. Also, these regional DAOs that you guys have, like the Celo Africa DAO, is quite important for we feel we are closer to you, to the Celo ecosystem. They are not just some far away office outside or not within our reach, but you guys are here. There's the regional DAO. There's all these small events and these small Web3 events that you guys hold. So I feel like there's a lot of support. There's a lot of sort of like family or togetherness in this compared to other networks, which most of them they're just the support is there, but I feel like from the Celo team, from the Celo network, it's way more because of all these things that you're doing and all these small events that you're having and all these meetups that you're having in these universities. So there's a lot of things that are being built up from the ground, which is quite different from the other approach that other networks are doing here in Kenya and also in other African countries. Yeah, Derek.
Okay. Yeah, Derek, do you have anything to say?
For me, it's more of the same what Chris just said, and also looking into the mainly Celo is the popularity of Celo within the African context and also in Kenya per se. Like for example, if you attend any Web3 community, I can bet for 10 people that you interact with, 7 of them are in possession of the Celo assets.
Nice. So we'll just wait for either any questions from like the community. They're free to answer right now. Yeah. In the meantime, thank you very much for coming in here and talking to us about Pretium. We can see the future is quite bright. So now would be the time to share your socials so that if there's anyone who's like wants to follow and know about Pretium and basically follow everything the progress that you guys are doing, you can share your screen and share to us your socials so that people can follow and get to know more about Pretium. In the meantime, if there are any questions from like the community, we can have them right now. Okay, so while Derek is sharing the screen to our socials, Chris, you can maybe take this question. So what are the challenges you guys have faced while building Pretium?
I think the one, it's not really a challenge, but it's a worry. It's the regulatory bit. That's a worry because there really isn't really clear regulation on cryptocurrency. So you have to be very, very careful on what you build. I would say that is probably the most worrying thing about. But I'm just hoping that there will be some favorable policies and laws that will be passed about around that. Yeah, we can borrow some ideas from South Africa because they passed some laws regarding that, and I think it's sort of going on well for them. But I think the biggest worry for now is the regulation, which isn't really clear on what is supposed to be done and what is not supposed to be done.
I think it's a very fair point to like worry about, because right now the space, especially with policies and regulations, it's quite a gray area. But one thing I had about when people were building, and most of the time we ask them a lot of questions about what about regulation, is that innovators build and then regulators will catch up later on. So I think by the time they catch up to Pretium, well, you guys will be far ahead. So so one question from Omar is, why did you guys choose Pretium for a name? It's open-ended. Anyone can answer it.
Thank you, Omar. Pretium is a Latin word meaning price. So between every transaction, the price play a core like price is mainly the core of every form of transaction out there. So, and mainly the introduction of the blockchain technology, it was to create a value for something, for exchange from one person to another. So the reason Pretium is where now we say our slogan is to unlock the value. Like now we want to unlock the value of that price or the value of that blockchain technology, and that's the reason we are very much focusing on the integration of these digital assets into economic supply chain. So it's all related to the value of an exchange or a value of a transaction, and unlocking the overall focus of the blockchain technology.
Okay, awesome. That's very nice. So we've come to the end of the show. Thank you very much, Derek and Chris, for coming in and talking more about Pretium. We're looking forward to see what you guys build in the future. Just as we finish up, you can share your socials so people can get to follow through and basically just follow the Pretium account. And get updates.
I'm trying to drop the social handles on the comment. I can't. I send them on the private.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, you share them on the private. Let me just. I can just Yeah, so I've just shared them. Yeah, when airdrop. When airdrop.
Chris, please go ahead. Okay, well, we haven't thought that for at the moment, but in near future, you shall announce about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're looking forward to get some tokens, yeah? So guys, thank you very much for coming in and talking about Pretium. Thank you for sharing with us the entire journey of how you guys started out with Pretium. And for the guys who are watching in and those who will log in later on to check the recording. Thank you for coming into the town hall. So this is the first series of the monthly Celo town hall, which we'll be having to just showcase all the startups and projects which we are having in the Celo ecosystem. And like you see, we have very nice projects going on. Like to start us off, we have Pretium. And yeah, so see you guys. Thank you very much, Derek, Chris. I hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you for having us, Cindy. We do really appreciate.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Cindy, for
yeah.
the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to see what you guys have and kindly ping us when you guys have like what is it called, applications, apps, both iOS and Android, so that we can test them out and see if they work. And good luck with everything. And yeah, I hope M-Pesa doesn't like come for you guys, you know.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you for everyone who's logged in, for everyone who's watching at home. And yeah, see you next month, same time, same place. Yeah, bye bye.
Okay, bye.